my generation, while we out there hustling, can't nobody come out there and hustle. This ain't these old times. You know what I mean? Done killed this from our block, from them other projects trying to take over our block to hustle, all kinds. You know what I mean? So we beat mad at them projects up, laid them out flat on the floor. You can't come here with that. I remember Preem used to come to the block and try to talk to 50. This is fact. I remember that's when Preem had the old school range and shit, the green shit, 4.6 shit. You know what I mean? The old body shit, though. He came up to the block and shit and tried to talk to 50, but like he tried to put his hand on 50's head. So 50 pushed his hand off, you heard? And put his hand on his head. Oh man, Preem ain't like that.
Look, I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. I don't like Preem. I don't like Preem in him. But he lived the way he actually projected himself. His lifestyle is consistent.
He was true to it.
He never ratted on nobody. Just like that.
It's May 24th, 2000. Curtis Jackson, the world will come to know him as 50 Cent, is outside his grandmother's former home in South Jamaica, Queens.
So 50 would have been parked about right here.
An assailant approaches and fires 9 shots at close range.
Broke shit, fell out the back.
50 is hit in the hand, the hip, the chest, the face. He survives.
Who has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 times?
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
if
it.
If there's something that creates more merit for you. I looked at that experience as something that was unfortunate that I had to.
I forget, why did the guy shoot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it?
Yeah.
Who would want to
Why
shoot
were
you?
you targeted?
You're such a good guy.
That's my past.
It was a drug thing?
No,
like a
just-
business thing?
It's karma.
Federal investigators later build a theory around why. The name they keep coming back to is Kenneth McGriff, a Queens kingpin known on the street as Supreme, accused of ordering the hit in retaliation for a song.
You slow motherfuckers, I'ma break it down iller. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer. Remember?
I like the Ghetto Qu'ran, if you want to know.
Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point.
And according to those same investigators, McGriff's money and influence are allegedly tied to the label dominating the charts at that exact moment, Murder, Inc.
So, did you know about this beef between 50 Cent and Ja Rule?
Yeah, I became aware of it when I started. It was a big part of the case because, for a variety of reasons, namely that 50 got shot by, since Supreme had insinuated himself into Murder Inc. Records.
Before he's a name in a federal indictment, Kenneth McGriff is one of the most feared men in Southeast Queens. Through the 1980s, his organization, the Supreme Team, runs a crack distribution network out of the Baisley Park housing projects in Jamaica, Queens, pulling in more than $200,000 a day at its peak.
Some people call it the largest crack house in the city. It's 5 blocks of projects, drugs, and crime.
Being brave, what they call outside, not afraid of anything, and knowing how to handle myself. I had a lot of money, where I can travel. I didn't know what it was to wear the same clothes twice. Anything I thought I wanted. Was it very dangerous? It wasn't dangerous for me because I had bodyguards and everything, and I wasn't afraid.
Keep this woman in mind because we will get back to her story. While she had money and power, this also led to destruction of not only her community, but her life.
Nobody bigger than my father. That's another thing I'm gonna say on every time I get in front of a camera and a mic. Right. Is nobody bigger than Kenneth McGriff. Everybody else got to stand on their jacket. Right. Something they done did some bullshit. Something in 5K1 letters that people don't know about. Or I know everything about everybody. All the drug dealers, all the street figures, all the people in the world. I know everything about all of them, bro. So right. my father got a flawless record, bro.
Right.
So he ain't here to pop his shit. So I'm gonna pop it for him.
First event was this man named Muscles. Muscles used to cook crack for everybody. When crack just came out, when you cook crack, it's oil left. We didn't know about that. So Preem found out it was oil. So Muscles would cook the crack and keep all the oil. It was worth more than the crack. So he was stealing from us for a little while. And Preem sees him. Says, yo, come here. So Preem looked at him, then looked at me. I just laid him out. So my loyalty, he knows, to him.
This isn't a side detail. This is the same Queens that produces 50 Cent, that produces Ja Rule, that produces Irv Gotti himself. McGriff isn't reaching into hip-hop from a distance. He's from the same blocks, the same era, the same world.
It's 9:40 a.m. on this beautiful Grace Tuesday, and I don't know if you've gotten out yet to get your daily newspaper, but in both of the early morning papers, the headline from one says, "The Kitty Core Crack Bust," and the second headline says, "Boy 10 busted for selling crack. Pal 14 also seized."
The question federal investigators are asking by 2003 is simple. Was Murder, Inc. just a record label that happened to know a dangerous man from the neighborhood, or was some of its money quietly running through a much darker channel?
Me and Supreme began our friendship around like 92, 93. So we've been friends for probably 10 years before this. And it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit what they did to me so I wouldn't help Supreme fight his case. They knew I would have gave Preem the money for his lawyer to fight his case. So it was a chess move to destroy me and take all of my money. At that time, Murder Inc. was doing like over $100 million in billing for like 2 years in a row.
Here's where 50 Cent enters the case directly. Before Get Rich or Die Trying makes him one of the biggest artists alive, 50 releases a song, naming names from his old neighborhood, McGriff among them, and detailing exactly the kind of history McGriff doesn't want detailed.
Yo, when you hear talk of the South Side, you hear talk of the team. See niggas fear Prince and respected Prince.
I know people was like, he's saying too much this and that. Shit, I'm the one that he said the killer. I should be the one most offended.
For you slow motherfuckers, I'ma break it down iller. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer. Remember?
I like the Ghetto Qu'ran, if you want to know.
Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point. Just in the environment, they got, and it's not him individually, because everybody's greater in their absence than they are in their presence. His aura is stronger than he is.
On May 24th, 2050 is shot 9 times outside his grandmother's former home. Federal authorities later allege McGriff was behind the attempt on 50's life, framing it as retaliation for that song. No one has ever been convicted for the shooting itself. It remains an accusation, not a proven fact, but it was enough to put McGriff's name, and some connected to him, under a federal microscope.
I asked Prince, I said, Prince, what that mean when niggas put you in the papers and all that shit? That means they're coming to get you. That's what Prince said to me. And they came and got me. Right. They gave me a $2 million bill. $2 million, they took me back, man. Kept me. But then Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston came and got me out, man. Okay. I mean, I bailed out. What year that was? I think 95. 94. Okay. 94, they came and got me and shit. There was too much snitching. There was too much bullshit going on. I had to leave the streets because I knew. You know what I'm saying? Either I'm going to jail or I'm dying.
Okay, can you take me through an average day in the Supreme team?
Yeah, before I do that, I want to say to you, I'm talking to you, but I'm not. What I'm not into is the glorification of that lifestyle. I'm talking to you to answer your questions. But my thing is, in answering your questions, it could maybe help people not do and not follow in my footsteps. So, because a lot of times these podcasters make a big deal about somebody speaking about their past, but they don't never speak about the things they've been doing in their present. And so me speaking to you, not you per se, I'm talking about other people, because I've spoken before and we've talked and answered questions about what I did in the past. And the first thing they say is, he's talking about this, he glorifying this, glorifying that. Well, you have to speak about the past in order to show them what you're doing in the present and showing the difference between who you are now. So I don't mind answering your questions. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that to you, that I'm quite sure you know as a podcaster, you've seen people talk about, hey man, they glorifying this, they glorify that, they glorify this. Nobody's proud. No intelligent person who lived that lifestyle for real would be proud of the way he might have lived or just want to come home and glorify his past. But you have to speak about everything when you're talking.
Now remember this woman. Her story becomes far more complex and darker than money and power, and the impact of her involvement would be devastating.
I had a lot of money. A lot of money.
There came a point where you stopped selling drugs and started using drugs. What happened? I mean, how did that happen?
I wasn't able to sell anymore. I started using it. What happened was I just eventually started digging into my own drugs. And I just started, being around the people that I was around and looking at them, seeing how they were feeling. I just, one day with some of my friends, her brothers were big drug dealers. And I just thought she was already using. So I just started picking up and digging in my package. And after I gave her some, I started getting high too.
And what happened?
I liked it. And I said, wow, this here, it makes you feel good, you know? So I just kept on and kept on. I consumed over $2,000 a day, sometime more than that. And I didn't have a dime several hours after I had that money. It was all gone. I didn't miss loving nobody. I didn't love. Love wasn't in me at all. I just hated. I had a mean streak of anger in me. And for someone to smile, it was like you were cursing at me. It hurted me. It was like a knife stab. I didn't like to see nobody happy. I remember I broke up people's homes and everything because I had a habit of going around giving. If you wasn't on the drug, I would give it to you. And you was all right. So I would keep giving it to you, then you would have a habit. Then you would need me because I would have to cook it for you. I would have to buy the drugs for you because if you didn't know the streets, you just couldn't go out there and buy it because you'd get beat the same way today. You know, you would get beat.
What you just heard paints a picture of everyday life, but her story takes an unexpected turn. Before we return to it, here's a first-hand account of how the Supreme Team operated during that era.
At the time, you couldn't sell in New York at that time unless you were with certain people. You know, that's why a lot of people left New York and went elsewhere, not only because it was lucrative somewhere else, but because they couldn't really hang out in certain neighborhoods and do what they was doing because you had to be a part of a certain clique or crew or something. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But Supreme Team was more organized. We went over into, we had ours more organized. We turned it more into an organized thing than just out there just getting money. We organized our crew. My uncle was very charismatic, and he never thought that he would be doing this for the rest of his life. His thing was, we in this for a little while, we getting out. And so when I came home and he got locked up, you know, he gave me the reins, and I started organizing it a little better, a little more, and whatnot. But when you organize crime, it brings more attention as well. You feel me? And when he got locked up in the state, they ended up taking him to the feds, and he ended up, you know, going to the feds. But when he got locked up, he was charged with running a continuing criminal enterprise. When I got locked up, they charged us with RICO because we organized it and we made it more into organized crime. Now, mind you, that RICO statute don't necessarily fit every crime. They give RICO now to the regular gangs in the street now, and that don't even fit for real because they're not organized crime. But that was just the way to lock them up. In our case, when they locked up our half of the Supreme Team, we were actually organized crime. It was a true bill. So what I did was come home and I took it and I organized it in a certain way, and I made it so that, you know, you had lieutenants, and Supreme always had lieutenants, but I organized it in a way where, you know, it was more organized crime type of thing. I got up every morning, I come out and I go around the way and I check out all the spots that's nearby, because we had places all the way from Long Island to Queensbridge to, we had spots everywhere. And contrary to what people think, we sold weight. We didn't just sell on the street level, we had weight as well. And some people would buy weight from us, but they would be a part of the team, and we would protect them. We had security, we had lieutenants, we had areas under control. It was 24-hour, 7 days a week, man. When I left to go upstate, Preem was on the 150th Street, him, Fat Cat, different people. They were working for people. I was working for somebody. When I went to prison and came home, Preem had his own crew, Cat had his own crew, and they were the main ones. And Carly, everybody, it was like 3 main crews. Then you had, on the farmer side, you had other people over there as well, right? You know, everything was broke up into crews or big names, and they ran areas. Everything was segmented, where there's only certain crews had certain areas in Queens. Queens was chopped up, and you had to be with these people. You wasn't, that's how it was. Now you had some other people in between. You had Hillside Avenue, you had others up on New York Boulevard, but for the most part, it was just certain crews and certain cliques and stuff.
This is the part that ties two stories together that on the surface look separate. A drug case going back to the 1980s, a record label about to top the charts, and one shooting in 2000 that almost ends 50 Cent's life before his career even starts, sitting at the center of both.
No, 50, I fuck with 50, you know what I'm saying? But he don't fuck with me because he know Cream, you know what I'm saying?
Affiliation,
The affiliation. But, you know what I mean? That man raised me, so I can't just turn my back on him. Right. And plus, you just man, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
and I know you from being with Just.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
God bless him, yeah.
when this shit happened to him, I saw him in the matter of fact, I was in the hit factory, me and Corey Rooney.
Okay.
We was in the hit factory when it first went down, and they was upstairs. He was upstairs working with Tony Pope.
Yeah.
And I was downstairs, and then I was upstairs checking whatever when it came down. So I go check Ja Rule and Irv and them. They had a session in it.
Right, in the same joint, yeah.
Same joint. So I go in their room. So I'm sitting on the board, by the board, and Prize come in from the Fugees. He come in.
Okay.
So Prize, like they talking, they talking about 50, whatever. And Prize said, nigga upstairs right now.
Oh.
So he threw Ja on the spot in front of everybody, you know, niggas, bitches. So he had no choice but to like, oh, let's go up there and get him.
Yeah.
You know, he had to do that.
Yeah.
He had to.
The gun.
So he went up there, all of them up there, you know what I mean? Next you know, he just got the lights, they start fighting, whatever.
Yeah.
So 50 comes to the elevator, I'm downstairs in the lobby. I'm like, yo, so what's up, you alright? He just looked at me like, cold, let's walk. You know what I mean? So he went down to Sony.
Okay.
Where Benzino and them niggas was. You know what I mean? They got him out of there, but I don't know what happened after that.
The day 50 Cent was shot, I was walking through, and BMF was there too. Meech and them was there too. We was walking through the Fiesta Maracana Cadesa in Cancun, Mexico. I had just introduced Meech to Chaz. I started walking through the hotel, and they had the pool right there. Looked like rocks, flowers, and everything around, just a little short pool. And his manager seen me. And he said, yo, Gene. I said, what's up? Now his manager's in the pool with two girls. I said, yo, what's up? He said, yo, I need to speak to Chaz and I need to speak to Supreme. I said, what you ask me for? What you telling me that shit for? He said, yo, man, because 50 just got shot, you know, and he in ICU. I say, 50 what? He just got what? See, I had spoke to 50. 50 was supposed to be coming to Cancun because he was supposed to be doing a show for In the Streets at Daddy-O's, How to Rob an Industry, when he had that song out. So I said, 50, we gonna be good in Cancun because I got some Puerto Rican guys who work for the syndicate down there. So when I come down there, they always take care of me. They my cab service. You understand? Whatever I need, they got it. I'll be the only one holding. I say, yo, listen to me. They take care of me, 50, we good. He said, all right. So he took half the money, but I don't think 50 was gonna show up anyway. And I'm glad he didn't, because the whole Murder Inc. and Rockefeller, everybody was down there. You understand? So now, I said, so what the fuck you doing in the pool, nigga? If he shot. So I just ran to the cab and I took it to the mall and I bought a card. It cost me $100. And you only get 10 minutes on that damn card if you calling back to the States. And I used that whole $100 on calling 50 phone, calling 50 phone, calling 50 phone, calling 50 phone. And then one time his girl picked up. I said, yo, this Jean. Is 50 all right? She said, Jean. I guess she was right there with him or something like that. She said, yeah, he all right. So I guess she told him to talk to me. I said, just tell him if he need anything that I'll be back on such and such day. So then I told Chaz I spoke to 50. He said, man, if I was you, I wouldn't go near that kid because of the police, the detectives, and all this other shit like that. I said, yeah, all right. So I called 50 again, and he ain't pick up no more. So I was one of the dudes that called him when he got shot. And his girl picked up for me. And I guess she told him to tell him. He told her or nodded or something like that to let him know that he was good. So that's what happened.
Do you know who was behind the hit?
Do I know who was behind that hit? No, I don't know who was behind it, bro. I don't know who was behind it. I know that Irv Gotti and them had put it out there like they was a part of it and they was going to do it that night, the day at the meeting, from their conversations and how they was acting. I know they had to have something to do with it, and they come to find out that the dudes who did it was working for Murder Inc. So I can't even speak on that about where they hate or where they respect or anything about them came at. But I know that when Irv Gotti and them did the shit that they did, everybody said that was Supreme doing it. And I don't think Supreme would have disrespect the respect that Chaz had for 50 and played a part in that. He knew that was some rap shit. That wasn't no gangster shit. But everybody, it's a bigger story that it's some gangsters that Supreme had it done. You understand? And I don't believe that. Because Supreme wouldn't have put up no money to get nothing like that done.
Differences aside, do you think you could ever put your differences aside? Because I always said I understand why 50 has eternal beef with Murder Inc. They fought, they shot, they stabbed. You know what I mean? I get it.
And it's not directly with them, or I'll be addressing them personally. See, they're punished by watching my success repeatedly. If you watch, they'll tell you that and that. My issues with Preem. You see what I'm saying? He's from my neighborhood. He understands the difference. So he'll look at it and go, he's gonna do something. Like eventually, if you keep telling me not to do what I want to do, I'm gonna do something. So he's gonna go, and him knowing that, it makes him address it in that way. You don't have to address a rapper with killing him, with shooting him. You know what I'm saying? 9 times. Rapper says something you don't like, you hit him over the head. You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna write a rap about it.
Who has more cred than you, living after being shot 9 fucking times?
I don't know what the criteria are for street credibility. Or
That's
like if there's something that creates more merit for you. I looked at that experience as something that was unfortunate that I had to, because
I forget, why did the guy shoot you 9 times? Was it drugs or something?
He was paid to do it.
He was paid to do it?
Yeah.
Who would want to shoot you?
Why were you targeted?
You're such a good guy.
It's my past.
It was a drug thing?
No,
like a
just
business thing?
It's karma.
Karma?
Karma.
Explain to me again why this guy was hired to shoot you 9 times.
Well, he was paid because someone, felt like that I would potentially do something to them if they kept going in the direction that they were going.
Man, you are tough. Motherfucker.
What are you talking about?
The fact that somebody put out a hit on him because he was going to fuck somebody up? What kind of shit is that? That's crazy.
But what
stuff.
is this all over?
I don't know.
It's difficult to explain, Robin, because when you're not actually in the environment or involved in this
Just
type of
explain
You can explain it to
Explain
me.
it. We'll see if we can follow it.
Nah, man, it's just,
What happened? What had you...
It's
what,
so tough.
You were pissed off at someone and you were going after them. What were you pissed off about?
Nah, we was just having differences.
Oh, like over what? A woman?
Nah,
no
just
way.
going back and forth. Like a guy got robbed in the actual neighborhood.
And he accused you of robbing him.
He just seen me communicating with someone who actually
robbed him.
And he misinterpreted the conversation because he seen me laughing and us talking, but he didn't know I grew up with the guy.
You're talking to a guy who you don't even know fucked up this other guy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they think you're in cahoots with this guy.
Yeah, because you see you laughing and talking, they figure you laughing and talking about them.
Pain-wise, how bad is it to get shot in the face? Like, I mean...
Probably... I don't know how to describe that outside of.
Is it a 10 on the pain scale?
It's not really like, because it's not as painful as having to visit the dentist repeatedly for root canal.
Really? Do you think you're dead at that point when you take 9 bullets? Do you go, oh, this is it, I'm checking out?
Well, you know, it's a life-threatening situation. It's just not. I've seen people go into the hospital under circumstances that were way less intense and not come out.
Yeah, it's a miracle you live.
Yeah.
Did you think you were like Jesus had saved you or something? Like, did you have a
where
religious?
were all these bullets?
Well, yeah, you have those moments where you get a little closer connection to your higher power because you kind of don't have an answer.
But where
to
were all
why.
these bullets? Because if you're shot 9 times,
Yeah.
and you live, it probably didn't hit anything important.
Meanwhile, how lame is this guy who fucking shot you?
Everything's important, Robin.
Yeah.
Everything's important.
But 50, how lame is this?
Shoot you in one of your unimportant areas, Robin.
Yeah, right. What's an unimportant area? You're right.
What the?
Oh yeah, he shot you in unimportant areas. Do
I'm
you,
talking medically.
but it's amazing your face isn't scarred from getting shot in the face,
I
right?
got the little dimple.
Oh, is that what it's from?
Inside, yeah.
Wow, look at that.
It's 6 a.m. on Friday, January 3rd, 2003. The offices of Murder, Inc. Records, located at One Worldwide Plaza in Midtown Manhattan, haven't opened for the day. Agents and investigators arrive in force. They seize computers. They seize documents. They seize bank records. The underlying allegation federal investigators are working from, that Irv Gotti and his brother Chris used roughly $1 million in drug money supplied by McGriff to help launch and fund Murder, Inc.
This is this particular Murder, Inc. This is who they out-contract to. This is what they do. And you start picking them off.
I have bigger problems than just the hip-hop police. My name's Irv Gotti, boss of Murder Inc.
When Irv Gotti arrives at the office that morning, federal investigators are already inside.
And it was all bullshit. It was all bullshit what they did to me so I wouldn't help Supreme fight his case. They knew I would have gave Preem the money for his lawyer to fight his case. So it was a chess move to destroy me and take all of my money. Okay? Everyone knows you could just, any idiot, forget the government, but any idiot could do the research and you could see how my rise. So everything I got is the Midas touch. They offer me a label deal. I get like $5 million. It's not Preem. Preem has nothing to do with none of this shit. Only thing he has to do with it is he's my friend.
He will fight the government for 2 years. He will spend $10 million in legal fees. He will be acquitted on every charge. The verdict clears the Gottis of the charges. It doesn't settle, one way or the other, where Murder, Inc.'s early money actually came from. That question simply never gets answered in court. In a separate case, unconnected to the Murder, Inc. charges, McGriff's convicted in February 2007 of paying $50,000 to have 2 men killed in 2001, Eric E-Moneybags Smith and Troy Singleton, and is sentenced to life in prison without parole. The Gottis walk out of that Brooklyn courtroom free, but the label doesn't walk away with anything close to what it had before that Friday morning in January 2003.
7 played me some beats. I got a call from E-Moneybags, so I went into the hallway to talk to him. When I told Bags that I was at Irv's studio, he said, "Tell that nigga Irv that E-Moneybags said what up. He know me." I told Irv, and his face instantly changed, like he was nervous all of a sudden. What's that about? I wondered. I made a copy of one of 7's beats and bounced back to the Music Palace studio to meet Bars and Hooks, Green Eyes, and Steve Solar. Late that night, Green Eyes said he needed to talk. He complimented me on Infamous Records and told me to stop hanging out with Bags. He didn't tell me why or by who. He just said to stay away because Bags was about to be hit. Bags was hype about getting his Navigator. "Come with me to the dealership in Long Island," he said at the studio one afternoon, just after Green Eyes told me to stop hanging with him. "They're giving out good deals for luxury cars." We hopped on the Long Island Expressway and headed to Champion Motors. On the way, Bags broke down the whole story about the connection between Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, and Supreme. Bags told me Irv was a neighborhood DJ at park jams and block parties back in the day, and Irv and Ja were just 2 studio gangsters. Irv Gotti and Ja Rule? They were the herbs in the hood, and now Supreme's got them under his wing, Bags said. Before I gave Bags money for the song he did for my Murder Music soundtrack, he was planning to buy a tag car from this girl named Z, who went to my grandmother's dance school and sold tag cars for Supreme. Capone from QB bought a white buggy-out Benz from her a few months prior. Bags gave Z $1,000 for a down payment, but when he got the $2,500 from me, he decided he wanted his money back to get a legit car, a Navigator, instead. You gotta take that up with Preem, Z told him, because he told me not to give you anything back. Supreme brushed Bags off like he was a punk. Bags was a member of a Jamaica Queens gang in the late 80s called the Young Guns that had a big brawl with another gang from Jamaica, the Lost Boys, at Sunrise Multiplex. Somebody was shot in the eye and killed inside the theater. Bags was the shooter. He's the reason why that movie theater has metal detectors to this day. Bags told me he was coming out of the Coliseum on Jamaica Avenue one day and saw Preem parked in a Land Rover with a dude named Black Just, another well-known member of the Supreme team, in the Rover's passenger seat. Bags proceeded to shoot up the Rover with bullets, learning later that he missed Preem and shot Black Just in the upper inner thigh. Instead of driving Just to the hospital, Preem drove him 10 minutes away to the hood and told somebody else to take him 10 minutes back so the D's wouldn't question him. Black Just bled to death, but if Preem would have dropped him off at Marion Macklin Hospital right around the block from the shooting, Just might have lived. 50 Cent felt the same way about Irv and Ja, Bags said, and he didn't get along with Preem either. So when 50 first came on the rap scene with songs dissing Irv and Ja, Preem put a hit on 50, and that's why 50 got shot up. Bags knew that Preem put a hit on him too for killing Black Just, but he said he was going to kill Preem first. Now I understand what Green Eyes was telling me and why Irv Gotti looked like he seen a ghost when I told him I was on the phone with Bags, and why Ja Rule was acting tough on that Limp Bizkit tour. I was thinking as Bags spoke. He figured he had Preem to protect him. At the end of 2001, I received my certified gold album plaque for HNIC. Havoc only produced 2 songs on the HNIC, not because I only wanted 2 beats. I was forced to find other producers because Havoc wasn't showing any excitement or enthusiasm about my solo project. I wish Hav would have done the whole album. Shortly after I got my gold plaque, Bags went to go check Havoc at Freeport. After the break-in, Hav's uncle, Lamik, gave Havoc 2 pit bulls, Black and Blaze. They ran loose in the yard and barked at all who passed by, especially mailmen and delivery people. We walked up to the gate surrounding the house, and the dogs went bananas, acting as if they wanted to kill Bags. They looked crazy. Hate and fury filled their faces, barking like never before. Bags couldn't even come inside the gate because I couldn't control them. And when Havoc came out, he couldn't either. Hav had never met Bags before, so he came to my truck and made small talk. We were in the area, so I just wanted to introduce them. Bags and I drove back to Queens, parked in front of Majesty's crib in Hollis. We sat in Bags' Navigator and played PlayStation for a while. I'm gonna come get you early in the morning so we can start working on that mix CD together, I said. Cool, he said. Call me when you get up. I hopped out the Navi and into my truck and went home early for a change. The next morning, I called Bags around 11 to see if he was up and ready. Somebody else picked up his phone. E? I asked, confused. No, this isn't E. Who's this? It's P. Let me talk to Bags. This is Detective. Can't remember. You'll hear about what happened to E soon. I hung up quick. Oh, shit. Did they kill Bags like Green Eye said? I wondered. Nah. Maybe he got locked up or something. I couldn't reach Majesty on his phone, so I went to his crib later that evening. Majesty and a few others were sitting on the steps in front of his door with a big bottle of Hennessy in plastic cups. Madge explained that his family was having a cookout earlier that day in his backyard. Bags had parked his new Navigator next to the house, as usual, and they took a smoke break in the Navi because they didn't want to burn the weed in front of the kids in the yard. Madge ran back to the house to get a plate of food before it was all gone. And while he was filling up his plate, 4 masked gunmen ran up to the Navi from behind and opened fire. Bags' truck and body were riddled with bullets. Stray bullets went flying through Majesty's house and almost hit the little kids in the yard. Bags died with his gun in his hand. He must have seen them coming.
Murder Inc. never recovers the position it held before the raid. The label that once had Ja Rule and Ashanti sitting at number 1 and number 2 on the chart simultaneously is functionally a different company within a few years, renamed, restructured, searching for distribution while the case played out. 50 Cent, meanwhile, becomes one of the biggest artists in the world, with the shooting and his survival becoming part of the mythology that helps sell Get Rich or Die Trying. 2 stories that started on the same streets end up about as far apart as 2 outcomes can get.
Those records made it easy for someone like 50 to come and attack. When you have street records, the love you get is from first. The records that we came out and the foundation was like bitches. Those records made it easy for someone like 50 to come and attack. Because Ja spit just like all. But it's like once we set up that foundation, if he went back and do hard records, it was like he wasn't responding to it. It's like stay in your lane. You should just do what you do. But this firing darts at us and bang, he's blasting on us. You know what we should have did in hindsight? Because it was a time for me to make an album. And I know this may sound crazy, but I should have Dr. Dre'd it. Let have JX and Ja was going to write my shit, have them featured on the album and make like a chronic album. Because it would have just been through me, so I'd have made some raw shit. And it would have helped the Murder Inc. Foundation. Black Child and Caddy wasn't big enough. There was nobody to help him and say, what? Suck my dick and take the attention off of him. And I don't care whatever he says about me. I'd have been like, Ja, you go over here and I'm going to sprinkle. You could throw your darts here, but it'll be smooth and I can handle that. On The Last Temptation on Thug Lovin', he shouts out Sony. Tommy Mottola was so enamored by me with the records with J-Lo. Tommy Mottola is the one who put it in the air. So what we was going to do was do Murder Inc. 2 on Sony, where Ja was the owner of that label and I was his artist. And they was going to give us like $10 million. He was giving it up. He was going to give Rule like 5 and he was going to give me 5 for the album. Ja's the label owner and I'm his artist. And I said, that's how dope is that? Really, Biggie and Puff was going to do that. And I said, I'm a big enough and everyone knows me from producing and everything. I said, I just got to get on like 2-3 records, a verse here, a verse there. I said, Puffy doing it. But Ja talked. He's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. We should have did it. And giving us $10 million. For that alone, say yes. How many times I offer you 10? Okay, if it doesn't work, it don't work. But he was like, yo, may f with everything that we built. So he didn't do it.
Neither side ever becomes a villain in this story. The Gottis are acquitted. A jury looked at the government's case and didn't believe it. McGriff goes to prison, but on a separate set of murder charges, not for anything proven connected to Murder Inc. itself. The label survives the trial and loses everything else anyway. 9 bullets outside a house in South Jamaica in May 2000. A label raided at 6 a.m. on a Friday in January 2003. 2 men from the same Queens blocks. 2 outcomes that couldn't be further apart. The only thing nobody's ever fully answered is the question that started all of it. How much of what topped the charts in those years was ever really separate from where some of that money was alleged to come from?
I'm a nigga Bream in the house. What up, nigga? You know, whole Murder Inc. family in this motherfucker. Hey, yo, the next joint I want to do off my new album and shit is a joint that it kind of represents how I feel about my Murder Inc. family right now. We trying to do the damn thing. And this shit is called Murder Rains. I feel the rain coming down on me, niggas.
As soon as they raided me, they sent a letter to the Universal Music Group, said if you give Irving Renzo $1, you're going to be his co-defendants.
So they held
because you gave him that money of which he's helping this fucking drug dealer Supreme out. So you're gonna be his co-defendants. So they stopped me from getting probably like $50 to $60 million.
When we talk Supreme Team, everybody, we have to mention this guy, 50 Cent. 50 is...
Go ahead, finish.
50 names comes up every time we talk about Supreme because they had like this.
Yeah.
They were their like, you know what I'm saying, arch nemesis, rivals or whatever. Mm-hmm. All right, so how old are you now?
28.
So what age were you when you first started hearing about 50 Cent?
You were born in 95?
Yeah.
50 blows up in 2022. Or 2002, sorry. Yeah, 03, that time period.
8 years old. And I was a fan. Like, how can you not be... Like, I'm not a liar. I'm not going to get on nobody's camera or nobody's screen and lie. Like, he was the biggest... I'm from Queens. I'm from New York. He's the biggest thing moving. Like, I was a fan. Like, I had... But remember I told y'all I found out about who my dad was when I was like 12, 11, 12, 13?
So you were a 50 fan for a while before you
That's what I was about to say. Like, yo, I had posters of this guy. Like, I knew every word to every song. Like, my mother used to buy me the G-Unit sneakers. was wearing the do-rags. Like, that was like... He was the person. I was a fan.
You didn't have the wife beaters with the striped
I had
colored
all that.
sleeves.
I had all that.
No.
The G-Unit tank tops. The G-Unit tank tops. I had all that.
I had the shoes. I never had the tank top.
Like I was I'm telling you, like I had his poster, bro.
Yeah.
And then like, could you imagine like me going through that shell shock? Like me finding out my dad is like his arch. I'm like, yo.
So how did you find out? Like, what's the day like? I was like, all right, I can't with 50 no more because of.
You said, how did I find out? What made me feel that way?
What made you feel like you can't be a fan, or how did you even find out?
Yeah, how did you find out?
How did I find out about their situation? I'm like
through the music, right?
Through the people in the neighborhood, like people telling me, people put me on, like
because if you keep listening to 50 Cent, you go back to his older stuff, you're gonna start like actually hearing tales and like hearing your dad's name.
That's a fact. I wouldn't even necessarily say I'm not a fan anymore. Like, I mean, his music ain't good now, but like like a couple years ago, like maybe 2016, I don't have a problem with listening. I know how to separate the person from the art form. Right. His music, he went diamond twice. Like he doesn't make bad music. You feel me? But I'm a fan of his music. I don't have to be a fan of him. I'm not saying I hate him either, because a lot of people always be like, "Yo, you hate 50? That's your op." I can't. I'm 28. He's 40-something years old. How can that be my op? That's not my op. Him and my dad is him and my dad. That's not my op.
What do you understand from Supreme and 50 Cent's initial beef and how it initially even started? What do you hear?
Well, I just feel like from my knowledge and what I know, I feel like 50 was just mad that my dad didn't want to take on him as an artist. Like, why are you dealing with Murder Inc. and Ja Rule and them, and you could be, I'm from your neighborhood. Like, sign me, get me signed, mess with me. And my dad was with them. My dad's loyal, so he's gonna be with the people. He's gonna stay with the people he always been with. So I guess 50 was like, you know what? I'm gonna show you that I'm better than them, and I'm gonna murder them too while I'm doing it. I want to prove to you like you should have been dealing with me the whole time. So it was kind of like he idolized or he looked up to my dad, and he didn't really like that my dad didn't want to like embrace him. Like, come, let me stamp you. Like he stamped Ja Rule and he stamped Murder Inc. I think 50 wanted that too.
It's crazy because that story is almost exactly the same as Gucci and BMF, where Gucci, like, BMF wouldn't fuck with him because he's a robber and he was, like, too crazy or whatever. So then Gucci basically says, like, all right, fuck y'all, and does his own thing. And then they tried to kill him, which is also something I wanted to bring up, is that allegedly at one point your dad dropped that bag on 52, which must have been kind of weird for you as a kid to even figure out, like, oh, my dad is, like, allegedly capable of such things.
But that's why you use the word allegedly.
Right.
So it's not
we can never really prove it, but
I mean, I feel like I don't really base anything that I do of gossip or like chirps about something. Like where does it say that he was the one that did it? I don't even think that's like a thing. I think people just came up with that own conclusion on their own.
I mean, if you watch 50 Cent movie, it just seems like your dad was majestic.
That's all subjective though. You feel me? That's all subjective. Like, it's not proven.
But do you really think your dad wouldn't be capable of putting money on somebody's head? Because to me, it seems pretty obvious that was the kind of thing that he probably did do at times.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
I feel like if you're that deep in the drug game at a certain point, like if I was going to become a guy who's buying and distributing kilos of cocaine, at a certain point, if somebody robs you, you got to be ready to kill him. Or pay somebody else to kill him.
But I feel like it's some people that was in that life that's more diplomatic than others.
Right.
So I feel like if you know how to carry yourself and you know how to talk to people and people just respect you off, you know, how you carry yourself, you might not need to push the button on them.
But I feel like nothing gets respect like violence. Like if you're gonna be in that world where violence is how things are resolved, at a certain point, you don't become King Von unless you make it clear that you're down to do some fucking drills.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, that's true. That's true. But so if you was in the streets, you think you would drop a bag on somebody?
For sure.
I think most street people probably do shit like that, right?
Or they do it themselves. They only don't do it themselves when they get too famous to do it.
I don't think I would agree with that.
But the more we learn about rappers, whether it's Boosie or Youngboy or whoever, at a certain point you start realizing like, oh, once dudes get big enough, if they're really in the street shit, they start dropping bags on people.
Let me ask you this: what about if your you know how they say your reputation precedes you?
Yeah.
So what if people think that you do that, and then they'll like start that domino effect, and now people are even scared to even test you because they think that you would do that?
Then all the better. If I'm a
You get what I'm
gangster
saying?
and people are saying that I dropped the bag on somebody, I'm gonna let them say it no matter what, even if it's not true, because that shit is just gonna make you more feared and respected, right?
And that might have been his case. People might have just respect. First of all, he did his time because this is not his first bid that he did. He been, you know, he did bids before. So if they like, okay, this guy, he did his time. He never told on nobody, and he's like maybe have the capabilities of doing that. Let's not even fuck with this guy.
Right.
I think 50 was probably like the only person that even attempted to like go against or like speak out or like say any ill things towards him.
Right.
I never heard that because people loved him and they respected him. Like he was doing basketball tournaments in the neighborhood. He was giving families money. He was a generous person. So I feel like that's when Nori be like, is it better to be loved or respected or something like that? Like, I feel like it's better to be respected.
And people forget though, but the main thing that people would hate on 50 for when he first came out was because of songs like Ghetto Qu'ran that basically took all this old ass street shit and put it into the music and told stories about your pops and whoever else. And people would call him a snitch for that. And 50's response was always, there are books out there that have all this information in it, so you can't say that I'm a snitch when all this shit is publicly available, which is another conversation we still see playing out all the time, where somebody like J Mane will come on here and say, I saw Tay Savage shoot at so-and-so, and then people call him a snitch, and then he says, well, look at this YouTube video and this YouTube video that have 300,000 views that have the same exact shit that I just talked about.
But just because it's already out there don't mean you got to say it either.
True.
If it's already out there, why do you have to say it? People already know. So I feel like if you add fuel to the fire, you just as guilty.
Right.
That's the fine line between snitching, dry snitching, and just shutting the fuck up.
So you do feel like Ghetto Qu'ran was dry snitching?
I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking.
Me personally, no. But the people who's in the song, they don't want to be talked about. They not entertainers. They street people. So you saying their names in songs, like, what if they still active? Or what if they trying to change their life? What if they in church now? What if they like... But when he was doing it like as like paying homage, I feel like. But if somebody told you they don't want their name in the song, and you know they don't want their name in the song, just respect it. Don't put their name in the song. But I feel like he just was like, yo, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and still did it.
And the difference between him and like an author is that very few gang members are gonna go shoot a guy who wrote a book about their crew or whatever. Yeah. But if you're a participant, if you were a guy who was around when we were coming up and now you're a famous rapper or whatever, being a rapper, you're still basically like in the streets because you're surrounded by the street shit no matter what. So you can understand why him putting in the song to them is way different than a book, because realistically, like less than 1% of the people who listen to that song are ever going to read that book.
I don't feel like he did nothing wrong with the song though. It's a dope song, and he's just paying homage to his neighborhood, to his borough.
In the Ghetto Qu'ran, when I heard about it, I felt he was doing what a lot of rappers do. He was giving the people, you know, they props.
Forgive me for I've sinned over and over again just to stay on top.
Shit. I kind of liked it, the song. When you hear Talk of the South Side, you hear Talk of the Team.
Yo, when you hear Talk of the South Side, you hear Talk of the Team. See niggas fear Prince and respected Prince.
I know people was like, he's saying too much, this and that. Shit, I'm the one that he said, the killer. I should be the one most offended.
For you slow motherfuckers, I'ma break it down iller. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer. Remember?
I like the Ghetto Qu'ran, if you want to know the truth. It ain't bothered me one bit. I wasn't offended because I was charged with killing people and I was found not guilty. I'm not gonna get mad because he was giving some words and giving some props. I didn't even think of it like
proud.
that.
No intelligent person who lived that lifestyle for real would be proud of the way he might have lived or just want to come home and glorify his past. But you have to speak about everything when you're talking. And so that's why I'm answering your questions. But now, what was that question again?
I hear that for sure, man. That's definitely important. I mean, you know, you did 34 years, man. And man, if that's not a deterrent for somebody, I can't imagine what is, man.
Yeah,
that's a lot of your life that you sacrificed.
Hey, Cam, let me tell you something. 34 years and 6 months. Don't even give me no shorts. I'm gonna give it all to you, right? That is almost 35 years. That is a lot of time. I did more time than Nelson Mandela, except I did it for the wrong reasons. He was in there. He was a political prisoner. But my point is that is a lot of time to make you think and sit back and analyze the way you lived. Although I wouldn't wish that on nobody. But I don't mind speaking about the past because you got people today who really still think that lifestyle is the way to go, selling drugs. So I can tell you, back in our time when we were selling drugs, it was a little different. And we were selling and getting into that lifestyle, and it's not caked up to what people think it is. But at the same token, we did a lot of damage, but we also helped a lot of people. And a lot of people learned from us, and a lot of people went different ways. There's times when we told people with us, yo, this ain't for you, man. Get out of here, man. Go to school. Yo, this ain't for you. There's times when when certain holidays come around, we would give out food to people. I paid a lot of people's rents, you know what I'm saying, to be honest with you. But that don't excuse the fact that I sold drugs, you know. And so back in those times, it was different. It was a little more nostalgic than it is now. You know what I'm saying? I will say that, you know what I'm saying? You had a little bit more principles in certain areas of what you did.
This is Florence Simmons, at home in the decayed and threatening streets of one of New York City's most impoverished black areas. It's on streets like this one that Florence Simmons' life with drugs has come full circle. Starting when she was known as the Queen, a name she earned as one of the best cooks or makers of crack, a new, cheap, and deadly form of cocaine. That was in her heyday as one of the biggest drug dealers in her part of New York, until she made the near-fatal mistake of sampling her own stash. That eventually led to a one-way roller coaster ride downhill, from drug queen to drug addict, and a long, near-fatal stay at the bottom, a brush with death that helped transform her from drug addict to drug fighter.
What makes you feel like really this is it this time? Why?
Because all the programs that I went into.
Now Simmons, who is 37 years old, spends most of her days like this, in a small church-sponsored program, People United to Save Our Children.
So you're here to stay and try it this way? Yeah. Okay, so you're officially in our program.
Thank you.
Counseling addicts of all ages, holding group prayer meetings. Encouraging former addicts to share their stories with active users.
I smoked crack from the day I conceived to the day I gave birth. When I gave birth, I was so hooked on crack, I was laying on a stretcher knowing that I had 2 nickels sitting on the dresser. And I still want to pull that pipe, but I was still in pain. But I thank God today that he done changed my life.
I started shooting heroin at the age of 15. I smoked crack, I've sold my body, I've sold drugs, I've stole. I want to say to all the sisters and brothers that are out there on drugs, the worst thing in the world.
And talking about herself and her story. One woman's way of fighting the scourge that almost killed her.
Because I was there when crack first formed the name of crack. Remember that. I was the crack cooker. My habit was over $2,000 a day. A day.
Recently, Florence Simmons shared her life experience, starting with what it took to be a successful drug queen.
Is this how drug dealers function? I mean, this is not just your way of doing things, right?
Sure. If they had any love, how do you think that they can take from their children, not feed them, leave their children and forget? A day to a person that's using drugs, a week is like a day. That's how somebody can go to the store and they can go for a week and come back home and don't realize why somebody's fussing at them because they feel like it's just been some hours. See, when you high off of that drug, you can hear a spider walking. That's how people can accidentally kill someone because you hallucinate. And you have no friends. Now, everybody can get down and say, let's get down and let's get a quarter or half a quarter or something. Everybody's so happy, they're chipping in together and they're smoking. Soon as the drugs go, everybody is suspicious of one another. And it's usually a fight breaks out.
What happened to you that made you give up your habit and your attitude about drugs?
I almost lost my life twice. It had to be the grace of God. I remember that I was going to jump out the window because I was sitting there looking at the birds flying, and the sun was so bright. And I remember something saying, you can fly just like those birds. That's why I can understand how somebody can jump out of a window and think they can fly. I wound up, it was 15 years of drugs, 5 years of alcohol, and all of this, a total of 20 years. All of this was in my life. And it was about going into my 15th year, I started really feeling tired because I wasn't getting high anymore. And I was tired of the things that I was doing. And really, I would come into a thing of in and out the way I treated my children, you know. And when I'd be able to see for a minute, I'd feel bad, but there wasn't nothing I can do about it. The incident that I remember of my daughter, how she was standing on this blue crate, fixing, she had flour, Aunt Jemima flour and water in a bowl, and then she was making pancakes. She was right next to me. I was right next to her at the other side of the stove, but I was making crack. And only for a second, I realized, and I felt something just for a second. I looked, and everything got bright. I'll never forget that. And I looked, and there she was, standing there. Her brother was just holding on to her. They had become inseparable. Nothing, everything they did together. They went to the bathroom together. They did everything together. You know, she had become his mother.
And she was
5 years old. She had became his mother. Before I go back to drugs again, I asked God to take my life if I would ever. I would rather, if I had a problem so bad that I felt like I was going to, if I picked that drug up, I would kill myself first. Because I know what I went through already, and I can't go through that again.
They arrested you for credit card fraud, right?
Yes. And for some reason, when they locked me up, I'm telling you the truth, I said, I'm glad, that's good. I'm glad. Because I knew I wasn't going to stop on my own. I knew I couldn't stop on my own. And I knew I didn't have the strength to walk into a program. You know, that's why this program is good. Because if you call places, they always give you an appointment. And it seems like if a place gives you an appointment, that turns you off right then and there.
Where are the mistakes? Where is the system making its mistakes with drug users, you think? Or
doing it, I believe a lot is they go by the books. You know, a person can go to school, they can read books, and they can get a degree for something like this. But that's not going to help a person, really, because I wouldn't open up to you. I wouldn't tell you all the horrible things that I really feel is like stupid. You wouldn't understand, no matter what you read. You just wouldn't understand it.
Do you see any light at the end of this tunnel? Any hope?
Yes, I do.
Where? How?
Yes, I do. Well, through me, and through other individuals I've met, and through people even like yourself who's concerned about taping this for someone else to see. all of this means something, because there's somebody that's sitting out there that went through what I went through, or may not even have got to the point that I got to. And hearing some of the things what I've been through, and also sometimes when you lay it out what a person is doing, and they say, wow, that is right. Because I didn't see it until I was out of it. I didn't have nobody to sit down and tell me.
Is it possible, you think, to get a handle on it?
We can get a handle on it. If we have a little program like this, I believe in every borough, if we make more programs like this where you can just walk in and you can get some kind of help.
Is this something you have to fight the rest of your life, or does there come a time when you're totally free?
You're always going to have to fight, and everybody that's an addict will tell you that. It's an everyday fight. I can smell a cigarette sometimes, and that brings the symptoms of me getting high. I can inhale the smoke, and it feels like, wow, I feel like I just sniffed some dope or shot it or something, and I feel the taste of the dope in my mouth. I feel it all. You know, all of that comes back to me.
So it's a constant struggle. And for somebody not as strong as you, who don't have the supports that you feel you have, what hope is there?
If you don't have a made-up mind, God cannot do anything for you without a made-up mind. You have to be tired of being tired. That's all it takes. Without a made-up mind, nothing can be done for you. Nothing at all. And you can't, this right here is not a lifetime thing. You can't beat the streets. You see, people are dead and gone, and the drugs is still going on stronger. So it's no win. You know, no one is exempt.
If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe and let me know in the comments. And to find out exactly what happened on the day Murder Inc. was raided, click this next video, because that story goes beyond what you might think. It traces back to what Irv confessed about his business dealings with Jay-Z before the raid and untimely passing. Welcome back to OnPoint Stories.
Jay may get mad at me for saying that, but again, it's the truth. Jay-Z, he made Reasonable Doubt, which is, you know, one of the greatest rap albums ever. Biggie died. He went and ran to the Biggie formula. So he figured, I'll get all them great records that they was about to give Big. But that wasn't his energy. He made that album. He didn't f with none of us. It was a Bad Boy Hitman album. And that's the beat. That's everything that embodies the beat right there. You have the beginning, second part of the beginning with the big ending, which is just the difference is the horns. Transition part to the beat with the strings. You hear the strings.
The strings on that was just, it was like mind-blowing. It was like, it wasn't done. Rather die enormous than live dormant. That's how we on it.
I'd rather die enormous than live dormant. That's how we on it. That line, I'd rather die enormous than live dormant. That's how we on it. Living the American dream with a vengeance. I'm gonna get it. I don't give a f. I'm gonna get it.